This is a knockoff of a Starrett adjustable scale and rule. This is a Brown and Sharp, and this was used in the PRR shops in the early 1920s. It has my grandfather's name on it, and somewhere on here are his initials. It comes with a circle dividing head and an adjustable protractor head to replace this. So I've been looking for a Chinese knockoff of the original Starrett. You can buy these almost anywhere on eBay or Ali or Banggood. And they have the components. The rule tends to be flimsy, although it's marked as stainless. And then all of these attachments are aluminum. It does have brass screws, has brass nut, brass thread, and what this is to secure these accessories to the scale. Now the modern Starrett has a pin at right angles to this flat that sticks out a little bit on either side. And then it's crossed, there's two notches here, so that I can only install this this way or this way. The earlier Starretts, Union Tool, Brown and Sharp, do not have that locating feature. Now, in order to install this attachment, it slides through like this. This reaches down through this hole and falls into this. So we need to rotate this so that it goes in there. And I guess you better loosen the screw. I'll rotate it a little bit, and I'll turn it back here. You can see it from this end. Okay, there we go. Now it's hooked into the groove, and by tightening it, works very well. This is a $9 or a $10 set. And it does have a stainless scale, which I guess you could use by itself. This particular one is metric on one side and inch on the other. I located this one on AliExpress. Okay, it's the same scale with the three attachments, and it was advertised as being cast iron and stainless steel. That is, cast iron heads and a stainless steel scale. This one sells for $36. A complete Starrett set in 12-inch would sell for about $150, maybe $175, and you can pick them up at a flea market for $50. So here it is, I hope. Well, the package says universal ruler and 180 degrees. So I think that talks about the protractor. So it is the combination square set. It's fairly heavy. Of course, I was handling that aluminum one earlier. Well, it's not aluminum, I'll say that. It's ground cast iron, and it is a casting. Get focused here. You see the rough end of that there? But it is a casting, and it's been ground nicely, and it's covered. I think it looks blue on my screen, but this is a nice forest green, I would call it. And it has, oh, you can't just lose this. It screws in. Has a little scriber secured with a screw. That's a nice thing. Okay, these screws are also steel, and they are not keyed. So we have, there's 4 graduations on this, 2 on each side. This one is in 1/2 millimeter. Focus on that. There we go, 1/2 millimeter. This was in 30/2 of an inch. And note that there's numerical graduations above the. Here is the number of 30/2, so you don't have to count from the very end. On the other side we have straight millimeters and 64ths of an inch. The center finder. It's also a casting. See little pit marks in the casting where when they ground it, they expose some flaws. Same way here. But it is nicely ground, I'll say that. The protractor has a 0 fixed on one side of the scale here. Then it's 0 to 180 in both directions. You loosen the screws on this side, and that rotates. That should rotate. However, it seems stuck. So I'll loosen these little Allen head screws. So I loosened these slightly, and now it does rotate. Now the nice thing about the American-made squares, adjustable squares, or combination squares, where everything was interchangeable between manufacturers. Starrett, Brown & Sharp, PEC, Lufkin, Union Tool, you could trade heads and rules and back and forth, all dimensionally the same. So does the Chinese rule fit in And yes, it does. This has got a coating of preservative on it. And it's got dirt and dust that the preservative attracted. Now that's just a short distance, but that looks pretty good as far as square goes. It's not a fair test. Now on all these, at least the quality ones, there's a spirit level on the protractor and a spirit level on the angle head. And here on the Chinese one, I don't know if you can see the bubble, but there's a level. See on the Brown and Sharp and the Starrett, the scribe just is a friction fit. Now it's a little bit longer, but it's a friction fit. And a lot of times when you buy these at flea markets or stuff, the scriber will be missing. At least this scriber is screwed in. Makes it a little harder, I think, to lose. I was afraid these were plastic, but they are metal, knurled. So other than a little pitting on the casting, so I would say that this is not necessarily as finely made as a Starrett. Starrett would not tolerate this casting imperfection here, or these little divots here, which is a casting imperfection. Little tiny blowhole there and here. But that certainly doesn't affect serviceability of it. This thing should last for 50 years, 100 years if it's taken care of. I'm not sure that the scale, I don't know if you'll be able to see this. See the line? That line's the same length as this major division line. This should have been ground a little bit shorter on this end. That line shouldn't be there. That line should have been, and you can see it on this end as well, on this side. The end should have been ground until that line disappeared. So, it's got its faults, but it certainly is a usable cast iron combination square for a third or so of the price. The thing to look for when you're buying them is it says cast iron. And maybe stainless. I don't know if this is marked stainless or not. I think it was sold as being stainless. If nothing else, it has that satiny chrome finish to it. So I think this is a completely serviceable, it'll give you a lifetime of service. And it's functionally equivalent to a Starrett, Lufkin, Brown and Sharp, PEC.